What's up developers, I'm Dibby, and today we're going to look at how we can take our scenes and put them in a drop-down menu at the top here. So let's start with creating an editor script, and one caveat is that this is going to be a little bit of a tedious process. We're going to have to create a function for every scene that we want to add to that drop-down, but aside from that, it's a fairly simple process. So let's go ahead and create a new folder and call it editor. If you already have an editor folder, great, we'll just use that. If not, then go ahead and create a new one with a capital E, and inside of that, let's go ahead and create a new C# script, and we're going to call it scene switcher, but the name doesn't actually matter. None of the function names that we create will be dependent on how the functionality works, so feel free to name things however you'd like, however you personally name things. But we will start with doing a bit of cleanup. So let's remove these two functions, remove mono behavior, and realistically we could also remove these three usings. We're not going to be using them, but we are going to be using Unity Editor. And we're also going to be using Unity Editor scene management, and this needs to be a static class. So we're going to need a few variables. First one is going to be a static string scene path. Now everything in here is going to be a private function, and because it's a static class, everything in here is also going to be static by default. We're also going to need a static bool save scene and cancel scene. Cancel save, my bad. Now we're going to create a static void load scene, and in that we're going to do a little bit of a check. Actually, we're going to come back to this one once we have a bit more code written out. So the next function is going to be a static void ask to save. So we're going to be using the display dialog complex, and the way that works is it returns a integer that represents the button that you clicked on. So we're going to need to know what that is, and we're going to convert that integer, or at least we'll use the integer to determine what actual condition that they clicked on. So int result equals editor utility dot display dialog complex. The first parameter it takes is a title. The second one is the message. And the last three is going to be what the three buttons will say. So the first one will be save, the second one will be don't save, and the last one will be cancel. Now we want to set those two variables. Save scene equals result equals 0, and we're going to do the same for cancel. Save equals result equals 2, and that's because save is 0, don't save is 1, and cancel is 2. So we're going to make a dialog box, and we're going to ask them what they want to do about their save changes. If they click on save index 0, then result is going to return 0. So save scene is going to be equal to result if it equals 0, and if it does, then this will be true. If it doesn't, then this will be false. It's a little bit shorter than having to write out a full if else statement for both variables. So let's go back to our load scene. And what we want to write is we first want to check if they decide to cancel. So if cancel save then return. We're going to do the same thing to check if they have decided to save instead. So if save scene, then EditorSceneManager.OpenScenes. And then after all is said and done, we want to actually open the scene that I decided to click on. So EditorSceneManager.OpenScene. And the scene path that we want is, well, a variable scenePath. And by default, it will automatically use OpenSceneMode.single. So if they have decided to cancel the save, then we're going to exit this function and nothing else will be executed in this function. If they have decided to save though, then the scene itself that they're currently in will be saved, and then after that the scene will be opened. So let's go ahead and start creating our functions for every scene that we want. And I'm just going to name all my functions to match all of my scene names. For now, we're just going to start with another scene and our menu scene. So static void menu scene. Actually, let's start with another scene because I'm currently on the menu. And we want to add an attribute at the top of this. So MenuItem. And this is going to be the path to where our actual where we will be able to access and click on the actual scene we want to load. That's going to be switch scenes / in this case another scene. So let's save this and just see what happens so far. Okay, so we have a new option added to our dropdown, switch scenes. And inside of that is another scene. Now these are the names that we went with for the path, so you can call this whatever you'd like, and that's what would appear in that dropdown. And that would also be the name of the dropdown. So in here, we're going to set the scene path equal to the actual path of our scene. And we can find that by just locating our scene ourselves, click on the scene that we want, and it will tell us the path at the bottom here, which is assets, scenes, menu scene, .unity in my case. So back in the script, assets / scenes / menu scene .unity. Then you want to check if EditorSceneManager.getActiveScene.isDirty, then we want to ask to save. So isDirty is going to be automatically set to true if any changes at all are made to the scene. And after all is said and done, we just simply want to load the scene. So we're going to ask if they want to save. If they do, then we'll just load the scene, and we do our check up here to determine what their input actually was. If they decide to cancel, then this function finishes executing anyways, and nothing happens here. If they decide to save, then we'll actually save their current scene, and regardless of that option, we'll open up the next scene so long as they didn't click on cancel. And that's basically the majority of the code. So let's go back to Unity and see what happens. Okay, so let's go to switch scenes, another scene, and great, it loads. Oh, I guess I didn't get the scene names correct, but it does work. Let's call this menu scene since we're already here. And now to add more scenes, all we have to do is literally copy and paste and modify a few variables. And in this case, this one is going to be another scene. So I'm going to make the function name match as well. And again, these don't have to. You can make this whatever you want. You can make this called whatever you want. It's just for consistency. But this is not optional. This has to be the exact path to your other scenes that you want to link. In this case, mine is just called another scene. And everything else stays the same. So let's save that and go back to Unity. And we can go to another scene. That's our ongoing game. And we can switch back to our menu scene, which is our main menu, I guess. Catch you next time.